Adjusting status in court. Okay, we're going to talk about adjusting status in court. As you can see on my board, I have 5 points. We're going to go through those 5 points, and this is a case study. Okay, please listen carefully until the end so you have a sense of how you can adjust status in court and how you can take advantage of some other options. Okay, before we go further, please subscribe, like, share. Don't forget, comment below if you have a question along the way. Okay, adjusting status in court. This client entered the United States with a B/B2 visa in 2010. Then the client filed for asylum with USCIS in 2011. Asylum gets denied based on, most of the time, the asylum gets denied based on the conflict in terms of contradictions, okay? The evidence presented and the story contradict itself, so the case get denied. Once the case get denied, it get referred to court in 2019. Look at the time, 2010, 2011, 2019, almost 8 years later, because that's how long it takes nowadays to get an interview, right? So then at the first master hearing, the client has to enter pleadings, right? So when you enter pleadings, first of all, they're going to look at what brought you there, which is asylum. But at the same time, if you have an additional thing that you want to ask the court as a second defense, that's when you say it. And then this client wants to adjust status because they get married to a U.S. citizen, okay? They get married to a U.S. citizen. Remember, when you are in court, I'm going to erase this one. When you are in court and you get married, especially when you get married after being brought to court, there is a presumption of fraud. Presumption of fraud. So pretty much they think that this marriage is fraudulent because you want to stay in the U.S. Now you find yourself in court, you just want to stay in the U.S. and you go and get married. How do you overcome this? You overcome this by providing extensive evidence, okay? Extensive evidence showing that the marriage in question is not a fraudulent marriage. However, it's a marriage of good faith. How do you do that? You show affidavit of support, pictures, commingling of assets. If you had a child after the fact too, that's birth certificate, and that seals the deal, right? But what if you don't have a lot of things and the judge doesn't want to terminate removal? They want you to adjust in court. What's going to happen here at the master hearing? Here at the master hearing, they're going to order you to file I-485. That's when you file I-485. They're going to give you deadlines, right? In court, they're going to tell you when to file I-485, and you know how you file I-485 with all these supplemental things. And then you're going to come to the individual hearing. You file it, you come to the individual hearing. That's the merit hearing. And then you defend your I-485. Remember, you are in court. The standards are very high, and really you have to be ready, okay, with all the supplemental evidence that needed to support your I-485, because now it's the judge who's deciding on it. It's pretty much good because at that point you're not on the line like everybody, right? The judge decided on the spot on the individual hearing, or they're going to give you a decision later on by mail. But it's the downside of it is just that the standard really high. You're in court, too much emotion, too much stress. But as far as timing, probably much better, right? Because you're right there, they're going to decide. But let's say you don't marry a U.S. citizen. Instead, you marry a lawful permanent resident. What's going to happen? Well, a lot is going to happen at this point. You got a lot of options to try to throw out there in court and hope one of them gets really granted. So you're gonna try to, you don't want to dismiss, right? You don't want to dismiss. You don't want to do that. Why? Because if you marry a lawful permanent resident, and you dismiss the case, the C8 work permit that you had, because remember you were brought to court based on asylum, right? Then later on you marry a U.S. Lawful permanent resident. If you dismiss the case, the C8 is going to be terminated because the case is dismissed. What you can do is, number one, try administrative closure. Okay? Administrative closure is going to give you time to wait for, first of all, for the I-130 to be adjudicated if it's not yet adjudicated by USCIS, or if it is, give you additional time for the spouse in question to file for U.S. citizenship and become a U.S. citizen so you can get married. So you can adjust status in the U.S. But let's say you ask for administrative closure, get denied. What you're going to have to do is ask for continuance, because you put everything in the same motion, right? Administrative closure and in alternative continuance, right? Continuance to wait for I-130 to be adjudicated if it's not adjudicated, or continuance for another cause awaiting the spouse in question to become U.S. citizen. So, because if you dismiss the case, you lose the C8 work permit, you cannot work, then you have to wait for I-601A to be approved, okay? To be approved so you can leave the country and do consular processing. What if you have 245I? If you have 245I, that can waive unlawful presence. Remember, when you're already in court, it's clearly that you have actually been here unlawfully, right? So and then you marry a lawful permanent resident, it's not going to work either, because you have to have a waiver approved in order to go to consular processing. But if you have 245I, then you can adjust in court as well. Then you're gonna say, yes, I have 245I. I meet the exception, even though my spouse is a lawful permanent resident, I can still adjust because 245I is going to waive my unlawful presence. You see how it's gonna play out? Other than that, well, the other options are those that we lay out at the beginning of this video. So if you have additional questions, okay, please comment in the comment section or call 202-751-2180 and schedule a consultation, okay? Schedule your consultation. Yeah, especially schedule now when my consultation is $175, because next year it's gonna go up due to inflation, okay? So until next time, bye-bye.